right, y'all. Let's talk about some disappointments. We about to be at week 13. And some teams that been, everybody thought was gonna be something and they ain't nothing now. So Charlie, let's start. No, I'm sorry. I want to start with Frank. Frank, the San Francisco 49ers. What do you have to say about these guys? Because they were one of the Super Bowl contenders. A lot of people had them in their Super Bowl. Can you tell us how you feel about them now?
See, they weren't in my Super Bowl, and I've had some questions about these guys for a while. Number one, let's start here. What exactly is the makeup of this team? Because I really want to know. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the sum of their parts, they're not greater than the sum of their parts. Because if we look at the team the way it's constructed, I want to take this back a couple years. Trading for Christian McCaffrey at 27. Yes, I know they got to a Super Bowl, but he looks finished right now. 2 seasons in, well, a season and a half, if we're being honest. What did you really get out of that? Let's not pretend that because Brock Purdy has been serviceable because of what Mike Shanahan's able to do with his schemes, that they didn't trade up and trade away a lot of draft capital to go get Trey Lance, who plays for who exactly and is doing what? That was a colossal bust. Was that a good move? Where exactly? What are there ramifications for these bad moves? Oh yeah, they got a 7th round draft pick that's kind of okay and okay now with the shoulder injury, and they weren't doing that great before then, right? Okay, so what about the old offensive tackle that they have in Trent Williams? What happens when he's gone? I just want to know where this Super Bowl contending team is going. What's going to happen? Oh yeah. Did I forget that they have a weird wide receiver that they kind of like that goes by Deebo Samuels that we know basically is a running back. So he's going to miss the same amount of time as your running backs do during the course of almost every season. There's that. Oh, what about the other receiver? The guy that they paid, the one that's like, he's a number one? No, a number 2. What is he like? He's a pretty good receiver,
he's a
right?
number none now.
Okay, cool. that they wasted all of the offseason like there's some well-drilled machine and like their quarterback was amazing that the things once they just paid him at the end after all of that it would just come together and work out. And this team is what? In a division that's really, really soft. Who is the best team in their division? Like, and they're what? And they're going to do what? What are they going to do? What is that? And what do we have to say for them, for this greatly run organization with this great GM and this great coach? What is that?
Charlie, how do you feel about what Frank is saying?
CJ Stroud sucks, but I'll get to that. Listen, I couldn't disagree more, Frank. The 49ers are having a rough patch, but the Christian McCaffrey trade has already paid its dividends. He got them to a
because he's a running back. So he wasn't about to do anything.
He was part of their Super Bowl team. You know how I feel about running backs, but he's one of the better ones. He hasn't looked the same because he just came off a Achilles injury. Give him a couple weeks.
And he's 29, and
give him a couple weeks because he still looks fried. That's crazy. Yes. They do have old Trent Williams, but Trent Williams is still one of the best tackles in the league. They have just been destroyed by the injury bug. They had at times over the summer.
This is football, Charlie.
I understand that, but not everybody gets hurt the same year. They've had so many injuries over the course of this year that I think it's okay. I think they might deserve a little bit of a pass. The team that was just in the Super Bowl. But if you subtract their number one receiver,
so they're going to be back there next year, right? Is what you're saying?
Their running back, their left tackle, guards, centers, like their tight ends missing.
Okay, hold on. Healthy next year that you got them making a run.
Like they're missing like a good chunk of the roster.
Answer the question, Charlie. Healthy next year, they're making another run, right? Because all of these things are going to be perfect.
Yeah, because that's kind of what they've done over the Kyle Shanahan era. Yeah. With Kyle Shanahan, they made 2 Super Bowls. So I would expect them to go back to winning their division and going back to being a contender. That's what I would expect. Yeah.
So you mean to tell me they had all this stuff with Brandon Ayuk all off season. They had Deebo Samuel on receiver last year. They got Ricky Pearsall in the first round. He got shot and all that, but he's cool now. But their best receiver this year has been Jawan Jennings.
Oh yeah, let me get him.
All of that just with Jawan Jennings to be a best receiver. That's wild. With that being said, though, Charlie, you mentioned something about CJ Stroud.
Terrible. He's like he Him and Anthony Richardson like the same.
I've been quiet about it because we all like him, so I've been trying not to say
exactly. I feel lied to.
You tried to steal a
I
girl
feel
from
like
somebody, Frank, and you ended up see she played both of
I
y'all.
was like, you might want to stay over there. You know what I'm saying?
The Houston Texans and CJ Stroud feel like fool's gold right now.
They just lost to the mayonnaise man.
To Will. Listen, last year, I mean, but to a man on this podcast, we were putting him in top 3, top 4 quarterbacks, and not thinking about it. No one can.
No, we made a mistake with that one. We jumped the gun a little bit.
He's going through some struggles. Like, he is not looking like the quarterback that
now his receivers have been hurt, which matters.
And now his receivers are healthy. And now his receivers are healthy, and he doesn't look.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Two that were healthy last year.
This is what they had last.
But he playing all season with Diggs.
He had those guys last year, and he looked like infinitely better.
Here's what I'll say.
Sure what's going on. I don't know if this Bobby Slowick got figured out. I don't know if the league is trying to figure them out.
Yeah, but you gotta give him credit. Well, I'm not giving him credit, but I'm just saying you gotta naturally take the step back because most of these guys do in the sophomore year. There's always that sophomore slump. There's always like that period where people. Yeah, I know this has been a hell of a slump. I ain't not gonna lie.
Gracious.
I know.
I didn't know the floor went. I didn't know there was a level down here. I didn't know there was a floor under the basement. Like that's where he's living right now.
Hold on, he has a running back, so it doesn't matter. Like he's everything
goodness.
Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Telling me they upgraded a running back and his weapons got worse. Like, that's crazy. I don't know.
Did I say that?
I'm just saying I don't understand what's going on with CJ Stroud, but I do not like it.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I don't like.
No, it's not. It's not. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. You know, a team, Charlie, we forgot to talk about. We didn't mention was your boy Baker. They're not underachieving, but they're kind of just in a weird place. How do you feel about them right now? They're in 9th place. I'm looking at it now. They're in 9th. The double cut.
Come on, man. Baker's taking care of this team, man. I love Baker Mayfield. Full disclosure.
All right, we don't care about your love for Baker.
I think the Buccaneers are fine. They're fine. I think they're a game behind in their division. Their whole division weird. So it's okay if they were getting.
When Atlanta's leading your division, I think you'll be all right. You know
look, exactly.
How you feel about Atlanta,
Frank? Atlanta looks like a team that's quarterbacked by Kirk Cousins. I guess they are.
So a treading water team, you saying?
Yeah, you know, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. It's weird because they started off like in an interesting way. Then it started to become about like, you know, Kurt and having those great games. And then it's now they've gone to the running game, which is really not a good sign because we know the running backs are very important. You know, it's just they look like I don't know what that team is. Like they aren't, but good is not really the word.
Who do you think is better between them and the Bucs?
That's what I'm saying. To Charlie's credit, like I have a little bit more faith in the Bucs because I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a Todd Bowles fan, but whatever they've done there, I think they've instilled the confidence in Baker. He's their guy. They trust him. He's comfortable in whatever that is. And they look like a savvy team. They look like, they won a playoff game last year. They look like a team that probably can win a bad division anyway,
So that's the
talk about. Don't talk about the Bucs like that. No, over here talking in the wrong segment.
I was asking you how you felt about them because they like on the bubble. You know what I'm saying?
Atlanta is the one that we should be more worried about, because it looks like the Bucs, they've taken they've had their injury bugs, they've had their crises, and then it looks like they've steadied the ship. But Atlanta, I don't know what that is and what that's going to be because that looks really filthy.
Before we leave this segment talking about disappointing teams, I have to put Nail on the spot. Just because they have the first overall pick don't mean we can't talk about how disappointing the Jacksonville Jaguars have been compared to expectations. Janelle, would you like to talk about
expectations after they lost 8 straight last year to end the season?
Well, Janelle, would you like to talk about it?
Okay.
What you want me to do with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, man?
Nah, that's not the guy I'm worried about. I'm not worried about those two guys. I'm talking about the other guy.
The Jaguars are a huge disappointment. I definitely expected them to be at least a playoff team this year. They are disgusting. Trevor Lawrence is honestly, I think.
What team is he on? What team is he on in 2 years? Who's he backing up in 2 years?
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to play a lot better under a new coach. I really do. He's going to play a lot better.
Yeah, when they trade him to the Giants.
That's your wishful thinking up. Anyways, man, we getting out of this segment before we got to
he rushed us out of here. He rushed us out of here.
This has been Soggy Nachos Podcast. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell somebody about us.
Please leave a comment. Who's disappointed in you too? Generational, right? Mm-hmm.